Yeah. It's to the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for attending today's meeting of the Board of County Commissioners for September 4th, 2024. I do want to remind everybody that this is a public meeting and we are being recorded via audio and video. And following state law, we are doing a hybrid option as well. So at this time, awards, recognitions, and correspondence. Commissioner Timmons.
I do. I have a Challenge Coin Award, and for Jenny Tanner, am I saying that correctly?
Kinnear, yes.
Kinnear, Jenny, come on up. I'm going to sit here and read this, and then I'll give you your coin. So you can just stand right here and. How are you today?
Good, how are you?
Good. Jenny is the office assistant at the school-based health center at Pendleton High School. This is her first year in this role, and she has eagerly jumped into the work and went beyond regular duties to be an active member of the SBHC team. She willingly takes on additional tasks requested and contributes ideas to the team as a whole. She has also had the opportunity to contribute greatly to the youth engagement work happening at Pendleton High School, specifically with the Youth Advisory Council that directly works with SBHC staff on health promotion activities. Youth engagement work requires a high level of time commitments and coordination to make it successful. Jenny's efforts help to make sure that meetings and events run as smoothly as possible. Without her behind the scenes, teams work to support the youth and SBHC staff, the level of youth engagement work happening at Pendleton High School would not be possible. Congratulations, Jenny. Thank you.
Good job, Jim.
Olivia Holmes. Come on up.
I love how she waves back there. Hi.
I'm good. Hey, Olivia, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Olivia is the nurse practitioner at Pendleton High School based health centers. This is her third school year at SBHCs, and each year she progressively sees more engagement with youth through the work she does. Her role at the SBHC is not just providing direct care services, but also includes youth engagement work through a couple of grants that UCO Health receives. Through these opportunities, she has worked with many youth to promote healthy relationships, anti-bullying, and other positive youth development messages. Last school year, she hosted a high school student intern that received a paid stipend for their work, as well as high school work experience credit. This spring, internship opportunity is now in its second year with plans to continue on an annual basis. The most significant accomplishment this school year has been starting a youth advisory council that directly works with SBHC staff on health promotion activities. Many SBHCs across Oregon and the U.S. have a youth advisory council, but this is the first year that capacity and partnership with students and the school have aligned that one can be started with Pendleton High School youth. This group has completed an open house event as well as a 2-week-long Road to Spring Break campaign. Youth engagement work is incredibly rewarding, but comes with a high level of time commitment and coordination to make it possible. Olivia has worked with enthusiasm and tireless diligence to make this work as incredibly successful as it has been. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay. Any additions to the agenda?
Hold on, I have one.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Go ahead. My apologies.
No, that's okay. This was received by Sheriff Terry Rowan on August 7th from Chief Brian Zumwalt of the Stanfield Police Department. It says, Sheriff Rowan, I wanted to take this opportunity to express our sincere appreciation and gratitude for the assistance provided by your agency on a recent criminal investigation with our department. On July 29, 2024, our agency began a criminal investigation which involved property and multiple vehicles being stolen from the Snow Farms in Echo. The case evolved rapidly and quickly spread to other jurisdictions and counties, with numerous suspects involved and identified. Your agency was able to provide the much-needed support, which allowed us to recover a significant amount of stolen property. The collaboration between our police department and your agency is a clear example of the great things that we can accomplish together. Again, I wanted to personally thank you for your assistance and that your agency provided. Again, from Chief Brian Zumwalt from the Stanfield Police Department. Thank you.
And Matt, any others?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, any additions to the agenda? And with that, we will jump right in, and number one is the weed program drone request.
I'll move to approve the minutes from August 21st and August 30th.
Second.
Let's do that. Thank you. Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Trying to find the updated agenda, so. All right, so now let's do the weed drone request for proposals.
Mic up here? No.
No, it's right.
It's right above your head.
Perfect. Teddy Orr, Umatilla County Vegetation Management. I put in a request for, asking for a request for proposal to purchase 2 drones. One would be a DJI T25 spray drone. This would be utilized for herbicide treatments for county projects. And also a DJI Mavic 3 that would be a survey drone that could be, it's got many uses. One of the ideas was to survey not only our weed projects, but some of the stockpile sites for the county. So where we could map them, measure them, and if we need to take pictures of projects and so on and so forth. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have.
So, and I think Dan answered most of my questions in an email, but the 50 hours, you have to have somebody do that with you? Or how
You
does
have to have a licensed applicator aerial, either helicopter, airplane, or drone. You got to get 50 hours of flight time spraying just water just to get your agricultural license for the drone. So you physically have to fly, and it takes more than just 50 hours. It's 50 hours of actual spray time. So you get 10 minutes of spray time and a 15-minute flight. So then your turnaround off that. So you're getting about 5 hours and a 10-hour day of actual documented time. And that's what the state of Oregon has set up.
So it takes a little bit.
It takes a little while. And I planned on getting my license first, and then once we get that in place, then I can train other pilots as we go. So
Taking that much time away from spraying weeds, that's a lot of time.
it is, but in the end, we're also where we can fly 100, 200 acres a day if we get a project, where we're lucky if we can swing 50 acres a day per person right now.
I guess the only thing I'm saying is, in the meantime, we have weeds growing. The weeds don't stop growing.
It'll be a process. There's a lot of off-season time in the midsummer. Probably I'd say July, August. We're not a bit too busy at that time. A person could be getting trained and doing it. I planned on setting just 2 or 3 weeks aside and just knocking it out was my intent, if I can find somebody that can supervise my flight time.
My next question is, do you have somebody lined out yet? Or?
I don't have anybody specific, but I know other counties have, there's a couple local pilots in the area, whether they're ag pilots or drone pilots that we could reach out to. One of the biggest hurdles, honestly, is getting it in place, getting the Part 107, your exemptions, and then start from there.
Do you have to have a 137 too, or just the 107?
We gotta have the 107, and then we gotta have, with this drone, because it's over, I think it's over 50 pounds, that we have to have the 137 as well. We gotta get that exemption.
So you have to go through that process. I didn't know if the county would be exempt from that or not.
No, we are not exempt. We still have to go through that process. So, yeah,
That's a bear.
it is,
It's better than it used to be.
yes.
I think now
It's not a quick process.
No.
So is the monitoring flights, are those an additional expense on top of this?
No, so that would just be a 10-minute flight before we spray. You just put up the survey drone, you map, and then it basically builds a map of the area, and then you just draw polygons on your controller of what you actually want to treat. And then you program that into your controller, you walk over, that controller already talks to your spray drone. Basically plug and play that map that you just built, then it goes and treats those sites. So it gives you a live feed of what you're treating at.
But you don't need to have a fixed wing or a helicopter monitor.
Nope.
At all.
Nope. So the Mavic 3 would be the one that we'd use. So the big drone will actually do the surveying, but the smaller drone's just a lot more versatile and easier to use in that capacity. So, but we can just go up to, I think it's 500 feet, 750 feet. I can't remember the number, but then you just you fly to the area, it takes pictures, it gives you a live data of what you're looking at. Then you just draw your polygons and walk over to your other drone, turn it on, put it on the landing pad, mix up, hit go.
I don't know if you're in touch with Nathan Temple at all, because
I know of him. I haven't had a conversation with him. So
full disclosure, my son works for him, and my son's a drone spray pilot, so he's one of those. He's got all those licenses that you're looking at.
perfect.
And Nathan helped him get those, but I think Nathan just does it with he has the T40s that they fly. And I think the controller does it automatically, He maps the thing, he doesn't have to have his other drone to do it.
It gives you a current live image. So you can they come with pre-recorded images, you might say. So if you're specifically targeting, say, white top, that particular day, you can go, it'll give you a feed of that area. There's already a programmed map in there, but it's usually a year or two old. By doing a pre-flight, then you get exactly what you have right now. So,
And then, do you have somebody in mind to be a visual observer for that?
right now, down the road, I've looked at a seasonal position for this and also for a piloting. Honestly, we're getting, anyway, but yeah, down the road. Right now, I've got several people interested. I have an employee that I could utilize right now for a spotter mixer. So that's already currently in the department.
And I'm sold on these things, by the way, just, I think, I've seen the places that they can spray that you probably have a hard time getting to,
Oh, yes.
and I agree, you can knock out a lot of acres in a short amount of time where it'd be real difficult today to do it, so.
And I've got some OWEB grants in mind for this drone for once we get it on board. One of them specifically is white top all the way from Mission to Echo. With the floods, it's spreaded extensively, and if we have the drone, we can fly a lot of that project. So,
Excellent. Well, I look forward to seeing the program, but I don't have any other questions.
I do. So
Yeah.
your drone, so it'll have AI capabilities. So if you go across the field and you don't know, you've got something in there that's maybe new or different, then, it can, it identifies it right there and comes back to you. Is that what you're working with?
yes, so this particular drone, it has 360-degree cameras. So it recognizes above, below, and all 360 degrees, a sphere of the drone, you might say. And so you set up the distance parameters for obstacles. So if we're tight flying, you can set it up to 10 feet or you can set it up to 100 feet. But it'll recognize whether it's a power line, a tree, and it'll stop at that point. And then you can either tell it to recalculate and go around it or up and over it. But it'll stop and hover and it'll give you a code on your controller that says, hey, I have an obstacle that I didn't intend for. And so they do have safety precautions to keep them from flying into other obstacles above, below, left and right.
But what happened, but what about the weeds that you're treating? You're on a field and,
So there is some level of, you're gonna have to know your site. So once you program it in, it's not gonna say, I'm only treating white top. You have to program a polygon or a map that says we're treating this area. So so if I map it and I wanna treat the table here, it's only gonna treat this table. So if I want little pieces with inside it, those are the only sites it's gonna treat.
okay, so I
So-
guess my question is, when I was reading up on this, one of the things they talked about was they have the capability, if you've got several different kind of weeds out there, and I mean, I can identify it right now,
Yes.
back to you and say, okay, you need this product and this product in order to treat this area, because you've got several different things going on here. So will your drone be able to do that?
There's fee-based programs that'll do that, but it doesn't come with the base package. So you would just basically have to pick on another program and then upload that program, and most of them are fee-based. So they have algorithms that detect, white flower, broadleaf, say height. So the algorithm will come back and send it to the computer. These are the spots that we notice this. Honestly, if we were going to use something, we'd probably use infrared imaging. And that kind of tells us, especially with the annual grasses, that infrared imaging would tell us where our hot spots are in the soil. And that'll kind of tell us where the annual grasses lie, and we can make treatments based on that.
But that's something you could add later on.
We could. It's
Okay.
just, most of the time, it's a fee-based program. So,
All I got. I'd move for approval.
Motion is second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, Teddy.
thank you for your time.
Thanks, Teddy. Okay, item number 2, transportation grant.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bob Walder, Community Development Director. Umatilla County has been working with Merchant McIntyre to develop an application for the U.S. Department of Transportation's Safe Streets and Roads for All program, SS4A. And we've been working on a planning and demonstration grant to implement several pilot projects to assess the effectiveness of temporary safety improvements throughout the county. If awarded the SS4A funding, SS4A funding will assist the county with piloting the Active Rural Transport Interactive System, or ARTIS, which will be used to deploy innovative technology to identify deteriorating roadway systems as they happen. And this will also allow county officials to issue proper safety warnings to potential drivers, dispatch relevant personnel, and inform decisions about future infrastructure development. You could kind of think of it as ODOT's trip check program, except it would be focused on rural roadways, which currently are not a function of a system like trip check. Funding for this grant requires up to 20% local match that can be a combination of cash and in-kind. And so we're here, Commissioner Doran can probably answer some questions too if you have them. He's been instrumental in bringing this program, advancing it, and has met with FHWA on numerous occasions to describe the program to them. So we're seeking approval for the SS4A demonstration grant application.
Okay, yeah, Dan, so what kind of roads are you looking at?
County.
Do you have an example?
Not state highway.
Hmm?
Not state highway.
Well, after the fiasco we were on last weekend, but I wondered, we've
Yeah,
got plenty of those kind of roads here in the county.
Yeah, just real quickly, some of the things that this will allow us to do is go back to the snowstorm last year or the year before. I'm still here.
Maybe
Whatever
2
it
years
was.
ago, I think.
Yeah, so if Tom wanted to close a road, say he wanted to close Midway Road so that nobody could come on to Highway 11 right there while the state's working or while they're clearing. Tom will have the opportunity to close that road, just like, Butcher Grade or Grade, those type of roads that if the road department says, hey, that we have got to get some maintenance done on this road, we need to close it. They'll be- yeah, we have a lot of situations right now where bridges are weight limited or closed throughout the county.
Yeah.
Throughout the county.
Yes, we do.
Those can be identified on the artist system. So that if you have access to that, you can actually see that. To take that another step is we're also in conversations with ODOT, so that ODOT can actually integrate it also into their system. So that they will have the, so if you brought up Trip Check, or their program is based on Rights, but it's all an Esri-based program. But once this gets merged, if you will, then you would be able to look at those bridge limits, even on a state system. If you're like you were traveling in Gilliam County, if you did this, or Morrow County, if you did the same thing, you would have known that that was a one lane, basically, gravel road. Plus, just the plain old fact of being able to have mapped roads. Those are just some examples. It's same as during the fires. The one thing that we weren't able to do is identify traffic on county roads for emergency, for all of these different fire companies that came in from throughout the country. They don't know our roads. So they spend just an incredible amount of time on a wall looking at roads and access and what, in those situations, they always have to have an escape route. So instead of having to spend hours and hours on a map, trying to draw those into this map, which we did. Our GIS department went and helped to draw those in. Those will already be layered. So you would be able to already just put it up there and have that built into no matter what fire watch or whatever program, whichever fire department is. Same thing with floods. Being able to shut down a flood road. What's my alternate access? Just like during construction, if and when the roundabout goes on 395 in Pumpkin Center, what road are you going to use as a secondary or an option? Well, it's going to, you will see that sagebrush is probably the highest quality county road to make that same alternate, or the old river road, depending on which way you're. So the aspects of this just are incredible. And they grow.
When Tom closes the road, though, it just shows on the computer. Somebody still has to go put up barriers to.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, but if I'm sitting in Pendleton and I want to, my plan is I'm going to take Midway Road to bypass to bypass Adams, to bypass Athena, and I would have known that before I left.
You wouldn't want to.
Do other counties have this?
That's right.
Do other counties have this?
No, actually, this is a pilot program for the country.
Oh, it is, okay.
And we are actually getting inquiries from other counties across. And really one of the ultimate goals when this is finished is to be able to have a revenue generating utility. This program will be a generating.
Hear that?
Well aware.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And Tom will have money in his coffer.
Questions?
I move for approval.
Motion is second. All for the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. STIF application.
Our stiff guru.
Good morning, Commissioners. I wouldn't call myself quite that yet. I'm Charlotte Hotchkiss, the Planner in the Community Development Department, as well as your interim public transit coordinator for now. Before we get started, I just want to make a quick revision. I made a mistake on the pinky I turned in, and I apologize. Instead of putting down the grant request for 2 of the projects mentioned, I put the total project cost, which is gonna look really scary to you guys. So that is incorrect for the pilot rocket. The grant request would actually be $156,971 with a 20% match of $31,395. And the Hermiston Hopper grant request would actually be $563,966 with a match at 25% of $140,992.
You
That's
just
been
answered
corrected
my
on
question.
this.
Oh, thanks, Doug. You're the best.
The ridership.
Ridership has been good for all the kayak routes. These are all kayak routes. Kayak has really good ridership, and it's increased.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it's
These
gone
guys
up.
These guys should know it's been trending up.
Yeah, it's been trending up, and also some of the things on here, like the Hermiston Bus Barn and stuff, are gonna allow them to expand their routes and start up the Hermiston Boardman route. So
They
hopefully,
have the buses now.
yes.
We talked about that on the tour.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's a lot of work, and I know that you weren't anticipating that at the start of the year.
It's a good reminder that I can learn how to do hard
That's
things.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Thank you very, very much for taking this on, because it is a critical cog in transportation. And thank you, Charlie.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Okay, wishes of the board.
I move for approval.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? All fair the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Roof repair.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dan Lanai, Director of Administrative Services. And before you is a request to repair the roof at the Public Works Department there. We had a windstorm earlier this year that ripped the roof off of the area right where the gas pumps are. There's the office underneath there, so it's the east-south corner of the main shop there. And we reported it to our insurance, and after their inspector came and looked through everything, they would pay everything up to our deductible, which is $5,000, but also there's some roof depreciation and a few things like that. So the end result is to replace the roof. It's $9,950. We would have to pay $5,143.65, and the insurance would cover $4,806.35. And this is off the bid by CNC Construction Services.
See, there's some drone footage of that rooftop.
Yes, there you go. Which actually works pretty nice because you can't really tell the damage from below. You can just see it's peeled back and stuff, but you can see quite a bit there.
Yeah, that's a pretty telling picture.
Did the contractor have the drone?
Yes, when they came out, they did that to take pictures of it and everything. So yeah, it was nice.
So,
We're going to use Teddy's drone next time.
so does this include all of, is it just a repair? Or is it
It's actually going to redo that whole section, so that'll be peeled off, and then the new, it's a heat roof. The cheaper of the two is the heat roof where they melt it down, you know, they.
Mom, have you guys had any damage in there while it was, from all the rain we've had?
We haven't had any rain, haven't had any damage yet, so.
When did they get started on it?
Marty was working on scheduling them, since he knew we were coming before the board and stuff. I don't know when he got them scheduled, but it's, we're trying to get as soon as possible before the rainy season starts to hit us, but I'm not sure the actual date.
I entertain a motion.
Okay, I move to approve the repair of the wind damage roof and authorize payment to CNC Construction Services in the amount of $9,950.
Motion is second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Entity software license purchase.
Mackenzie Bowie, GIS Supervisor. The GIS Department is seeking approval to enter into a small municipal and county government enterprise agreement. This agreement is through Esri, who is our current licensed suite software provider. This enterprise agreement will provide unlimited software and online licenses. This will allow the GIS Department to integrate products and software into other departments, as well as getting our current users the software and licenses that they currently need to do their jobs efficiently. This is a stepped pricing for 3 years. The first year has already been budgeted except for the $300. So the current budget is for $22,000 for this year. The agreement would continue at the full cost of $58,500 after the third year. If there's ever an issue with funding, the contract can be terminated at any time.
I think, first of all, thanks for coming in and giving a presentation. Pretty clear, the need and the cost savings. Thanks.
I think this is impressive.
I-
And I appreciated your presentation too.
I do have a question for Doug. Can we approve the first, second, and third year? I mean, can we approve this as an enterprise agreement?
Yes, you can approve the agreement because it does have a termination clause in it.
Okay. In that case, I would move to approve the full enterprise agreement. If that's right.
That's a question, Dan. Why do you want to do that?
Why? Cost savings.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
It also says
Absolutely.
that's part of the pinky too. Reading that right?
Yes, it's a 3-year term.
Yeah.
That's why I asked. We could do it for all 3 years. And
By doing it with all 3 years, it's like a savings 17,000.
Yeah, yeah, and that was just kind of the more conservative estimate of where we could go with other departments and integrating other departments. So that was a conservative saving of at least 15,000 a year.
that's just the GIS department alone. That's not the other. We have several
It's a
departments.
big savings by doing it.
It opens up a lot of capabilities for other folks.
A second.
Got a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mackenzie.
Truck purchase.
Morning, Commissioners. Tom Fellows, Public Works Director. What we have before the board today is the request to purchase a paint truck from the city of Bend. Our paint truck this year developed some issues with the air compressor system. We were able to finish our season, but in order to move forward for another season, we would have to purchase a new air compressor for the truck, which is somewhere in the neighborhood of 35 to 50,000, depending on what we would have to get. City of Bend has this truck they're surplusing out, which is a perfectly good unit, has good records on it, comes with a number of spare parts that they have on the shelf for it for $50,000. Our current compressor situation is the compressor had 10,000 hours on it, which isn't an overly great amount, but it was headed towards the end of its life anyway. The current truck that we're looking at has the air compressor on it has just air over 6,000 hours, so it should have a very good life cycle left in it. The truck has around 42,000 miles on it. It's in really good condition. So we're looking for approval to go ahead and just purchase this truck from the city of Bend.
I have a question. So the top of the line is an airless paint truck, right?
$280,000.
Is that how much they are? Okay. just reading up on that. Just curious. So what would this truck cost new then?
When it was purchased, I can't honestly answer that. It was well over, trucks in that era were well over $100,000, so.
Yeah.
I asked him to, and Tom offered to try and negotiate with the city of Bend even further down, and that didn't go anywhere, so.
What, your silver tongue didn't get the job done on that one?
You know, and I've got an excellent negotiator out there that deals in cars all the time, and he couldn't even get him down, so it was,
I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion say aye. Aye.
thank you, commissioners.
Thank you. Payable.
This is coming before the board because of the dollar amount. It's the annual renewal for the subscription for the state program, for the DD program. It's necessary for billing purposes. It's budgeted, and just because of the dollar amount, it has to come before the board.
Any questions?
Well, I move to approve payment to therapy services in the amount of $17,036.18.
Motion second, all for the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Community corrections, Kate. Yeah.
Morning, Commissioners. Dale Kramer, Director of Community Corrections. Like the document says, about 3 years ago, maybe a little longer than that, we purchased the VFW building out of Hermiston, remodeled it for our Hermiston staff. We got all the way through the project. We had to enter into, as part of that, we had a fence built by a company that since went out of business before the entire thing was done, and we've been going back and forth for the last number of year or two, trying to get bids for these gates. So Dan was finally able to secure a bid from S&H Fence and Construction out of Stanfield in the amount of $6,050. That will be the final component of this project.
These are reimbursable funds.
It's coming out of my my state IGA funds. There's no county general fund involved in this.
First of all, it's nice to see a local startup company get a shot.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've had a little bit of a time getting somebody to even bid it, so Dan finally, but Dan, when I asked Dan to take it on, he's been pressing hard on it, finally got somebody to give us a bid on it, so we've been out there for a while and nobody.
Be curious to see how happy you are.
And we wanted to do automated ones where you could use a fob or something like that to open and close them, but it turned into be a little bit prohibitive of getting the power to them, and then there's something along the lines of some kind of controller box that was gonna have to, in order for that to work, was gonna have to be on a neighboring property, so we bagged all that, just went to manual gates, and whoever shows up first can unlock the padlock and get in.
So do these slide back and forth, or do they open?
I think one will slide on one end of the building, and the other one, I think it'll swing.
Cantilever gates, so they can move in snow and stuff, they want the big one.
Okay.
And it's balanced, and then the other one, the only way to do it is to open. Like a hinge.
Property line right there.
Right there.
Right. I didn't want to say, Marty found the contractor, so, Marty McQuain, so he's actually the one we want to give kudos to. We found somebody that was willing to respond.
Oh, go ahead.
No.
I kind of like the idea, the automated, just because of safety. You know,
And we might get there at some point to see if we can put some kind of actuator on there. But given the length of time we've gone through, right now, we're just happy to get something up so we can secure it, because we've got people going around the back looking in cars, and we're having to put them out of there. And so it's turned into a little bit of a mess at times. So, and then when we finally got a bid, even though they're manual, it's like, look, let's move on what we got, let's get it secured. Then if we can figure out something down the line where we can put some kind of mechanisms on them to make it work, we'll cross that bridge later, but for now, we need to get it locked up.
Just for curiosity's sake, once the gate's up and everything, are you happy with the location?
Yeah.
Other than-
I
The
think
the building's nice. I
Yeah.
finally got a tour, so.
everything's working well. We're right, we're right kind of in the center of the area for our clients for report. It's, the Hermiston space when we were in the Hansel building was something I heard about at every manager's meeting every Wednesday.
I can imagine.
The variety of issues that come along with that, the
Yeah.
variety of issues that our clients can sometimes bring to courthouse and the public space and on the rest. So having their own space, everybody now has their own office space. We don't have converted what was designed to be storage for our snow tires converted into an office. Everybody's got their own space. It works well.
Perfect. That's great to hear.
It's working well.
They're taking care of it too. That was.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion, second, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank
Before
you.
leave, would you just tell everybody what you told me on the phone about 4002?
Oh, so the law went into effect on September 1, which was Sunday? And I know Mark Royal, who's our deflection coordinator, came into my office on Tuesday morning, and so between Sunday and Tuesday, he already had 5 referrals.
Wow.
5 arrests over those 2 days, so see how that tracks. I've asked Mark to compile data to share with you all like at the beginning of every month of how many arrests occurred for that cycle, how many people were deflection appropriate. We won't have, it'll take some time before we start generating any data on how many successful deflections we have, because there's about a 120-day window where somebody can come in, get deflected into treatment, then they have to maintain engagement for I think it's 120 days before they call that a successful deflection. So in the beginning, the data points will be how many arrests or citations were made, and at what percentage or what number of those were eligible for deflection.
That's impressive.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning, I anticipate there being a little bit of a, I think at the beginning, you're gonna, law enforcement is pretty aware of kind of maybe some of the people that are most active, and a lot of those folks, they're known to the police, they're known by us. So I think in the beginning, you'll see probably fairly few deflection qualified cases, but over time, you'll get more and more into those low risk flows, folks. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I think out of the 5, only one of the 5 was appropriate for deflection based on their criminal history or other charges that occurred at the time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Fair payable ticketing.
Cal does the parking and the fare ticketing for the fair. And this is payable for $50,312.54.
Dan, I have a question on this. That's a chunk change. And I want your thoughts on that.
Well, what we don't have is the $5 each car that got parked offset. I was hoping. So I can't,
So there is money coming in.
car that's parked pays $5. It generally comes really close to even,
Okay.
but I haven't seen all that. It came with this. I'm not sure why it didn't. But the other thing is, we used to, when the Elks parked cars, it was in the and this is at the old grounds, was in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 every year, because we did it on a different system. With the nonprofit, they got to
Oh, yeah.
keep quite a bit of it. So ticketing was Rotary, and we paid Rotary anywhere from 10 to 15. So the number is about the same for ticketing and parking. What I don't know for sure is what the revenue was.
Okay. I didn't realize it was.
Yeah.
A second.
I got a motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Advertising.
I do have a question, Doug, before we go into that. Was Orcal one of the contracts that we approved earlier?
It
Or
was
I'll
a
talk to you
signed,
later.
it was a signed contract. But it was in excess of the amount that was.
Thank you.
That basically all of these are the case. All these
The old
repayables were more than originally estimated.
So this one is for advertising.
This is related to the expense of the advertisement and marketing. It's through our regular Northwest events and marketing.
$9,612.35.
Which the original contract was 88.62.
Yeah.
I'll move for approval.
Motion, a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Fair payable staging.
And this is also the same that we had a contract for the management of the event and the Sam is the producer and we did some additional stage labor for $6,480.
Additional stage labor? Okay.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion, a second. Any further discussion? Motion, say aye.
Aye.
Carries. And last but not least, Weston Grant.
And this is for funding that the board approved back in 2012 for the city of Weston for their sewer project upgrade. And it's through the local assistant and tribal consistency fund. This does not really have an end date to these funds, but county would like to get them paid as soon as possible. But the city is not yet in a position to request them. The contractor engineer is still trying to get the necessary permits for the project. They're hoping to get that done next year.
There's other problems. It's that, right?
There's design,
Right-of-way problem.
not aware of the right-of-way problems.
I don't have an issue with it, but I'm kind of like finance.
What?
Finance, this is the third time it's come back to us for a delay.
Well, I was gonna say, the last time I heard about this, I mean, it was like it was an emergency situation and we needed to get this done like yesterday and here we are now. So what's the,
A lot of yesterdays.
not,
I think the system is beyond fixing, and so they need to redesign it.
That's exactly right. And redesign means more. I think they are trying to get additional funding too.
There is a CDBG grant they already have, and they're also requesting an extension. And it's substantially more than this.
But that's not our seat.
So we don't have any open seat.
Yeah, it's their own.
It's not ours, it's through their city.
Oh, okay. I know they also had some stuff in business Oregon as well too.
That was it.
That was it, okay.
Okay, I move to approve extension of grant to the city of Weston through December 31.
Second, all fair the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Final thoughts from commissioners. Commissioner Timmons.
Why do you always start with me? Because I always think of something when Dan's talking.
Do you want me to start with him? You can
Yeah,
with him.
start with Dan.
Commissioner Doran.
I don't have a whole lot. I attended a conference yesterday that, I think had a lot of good intentions and the right people there. Like a lot of conferences where you have a lot of agencies and nonprofits, and stuff that kind of nibble around the edges, really don't get to some of the meat of the needs. But I think it was, there were additional meetings this morning, so hopefully they were able to get to this. But I do have to give John and his team at AOC compliments. They were well represented, and a lot of rural counties were there, so it's good. A lot of rural Washington. So I thought that was good. Getting ready for this week. I know everybody's calendars are hammered for the roundup. A lot of people coming in, and we have a lot of meetings. Just being ready and active in the next week and a half. Letter back. And then if you don't, rent your house out.
That's right. Commissioner Timmons.
Oh, I don't have anything. I'm with Dan. There's a lot going on this next week, that's for sure. So,
Something going on in Pendleton next week?
yeah.
I want to compliment Commissioner Timmons and Judge Hill and,
Doug.
yes, Doug.
Yes, I'll tell
Yeah,
you.
for the truancy program. That is exciting work, and I look forward to seeing that. I don't know if you want to say anything on that or not, but
We're just buttoning it up. In fact, I talked to Jenny yesterday. Yeah.
well, I'm looking forward to having that in place, so well done on that. Good work. All right, with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.